Hey Sam, what's going on? Thanks for being here, man.
Of
Um,
course.
guys, this is Sam. Sam. First of all, do you want to briefly introduce yourself and kind of explain what it is you do?
Yeah, sure. So I founded Monti Outdoors. Our primary product right now is a cooler that folds into itself, premise being the ability to take it anywhere and use it when kind of conventional coolers would be too heavy. So picture a puffy jacket cooler going into a stuff sack, essentially. Plan, though, is to grow the brand into kind of a whole-on coastal lifestyle brand. So I was in actually marketing myself back right out of college. Then I got into the tech world for about 10 years, had this idea. So this is kind of my first foray into brand ownership.
Nice. Well, cool, man. So, explain a little bit about where you were at with Monty before you started working with us.
Sure. Yeah. So I did I call it kind of my hobby batch. You could call it a proof of concept run of about
Right.
800 units that I sold myself back when I was still working in tech. That was all pre iOS 14. So at the time, I was kind of like, wow, online marketing is easy. Uh, and then I took a little bit off during COVID because I was so busy in my primary job. But then when I decided to hop in full time, I found a new factory and did a very large order and was ready to kick the business off in earnest. So that was probably 3 or 4 months ago when we were getting ready for launch.
Yep.
Um, so I just in my little bit of testing discovered that the post iOS 14 world was a new place. It was substantially harder. And I also knew that I just don't have time to learn Meta and Google ultimately. Because my whole strategy for growth here is to work on the business, not in the business. So
Right.
everything that I can outsource to contractors, I'm trying to. At least once I find the right contractors that can meet the threshold for quality. So before, I dabbled a little bit myself, and then I interviewed. I kid you not, probably 40 to 50 ad buying agencies. I probably didn't have calls with all of them, but that's about how many that I evaluated. I probably had calls with at least 30.
Wow. Okay. And that's actually a perfect segue. I know some of those agencies were some pretty big boy agencies, for lack of better words. And man, I know you talked with 40. What made you go with us?
Yeah, so I'm a big believer, for better or for worse, something that I took away from my experience in the tech world is hire good people, even if they're, even if you feel like you're not quite there yet in your growth.
Even if they got a weird mustache.
Yeah,
No.
exactly. I was able to look past that somehow. But
Thanks, man.
yeah, so I was looking at agencies all sizes. I was not looking for something very simple like maybe some founders do. Finding someone from the local college to be a marketing intern or something. I wanted a big boy agency that I could grow into, and that's again something I took from tech was invest heavy early and grow quickly, and then worry about the rest once you get your momentum going. So to that end, I really covered the spectrum, and again, I'm willing to invest pretty heavily in marketing. I think I'm in an industry where you need to grow quickly. That's certainly the case with most, but particularly for a brand, I think you want to get into the public consciousness as quickly as possible. So having worked at an agency myself in the past, I was very weary of the agencies that claim to do everything. And then also what I took away from my calls with a lot of these bigger agencies were great sales guy, maybe even talking to the founder. But ultimately, when it's all said and done, they're not going to be the ones doing the work. If I had questions about strategy, they would say, oh, yeah, well, I can connect a call with the head of that department who then is going to talk strategy with you. But then ultimately, there's going to be someone below
Right.
her or him that's going to be doing the actual work. So I really didn't like the idea of being that far removed. So long story short, I met another local founder here that's at a bigger brand than mine that works with y'all. He recommended we connect. And I don't want to get ahead of myself, but why I ultimately opted for Carbon Box was I think it's the perfect mix of size and competency. I like that I'm working directly with another founder. I like that I know exactly who's working on the account. I can ping Costa whenever I want. I can ping for Anthony. If anything, I'm the one that am typically behind on our Slack messages. But I just love how communicative everyone is. And I do feel like y'all have the know-how to grow with me as well.
Well, thanks, man. I really appreciate you saying that. So, other than communication, it's one of the most important things, but the most important thing is results, right? And so, can you describe a little bit about what your overall experience? You already touched on communication, but what has your experience been like working with us once we were actually live and started to get going?
Yeah, for sure. So I can't speak to personal experience with other ad buying agencies, aside from the one I worked at many years ago. But I've spoken to a ton of founders about this, and a lot of firms, I think, want to grow ad spend too aggressively quickly, which on paper sounds great, with the implication that it's all done profitably and nothing breaks. But what I've really liked about onboarding with y'all is that it's been a very methodical increase of budget. And don't get me wrong, it's been incredibly fast. I think we did like 3 or maybe it might have been 400 or 500% in November versus what I did kind of on my own in October. And then December is already straight line pacing to beat November by a pretty good margin if we can keep it up. So I like the kind of responsible approach to growing ad spend. Reporting has been good so far. ROAS has been also right in kind of our target as well. So yeah, I've got no complaints from a performance perspective.
Sweet. Love it, man. Okay, so second to last question. To those of you who are watching at home and are considering, working with us, who is this guy? Should he shave his mustache or not? The answer is no, I'm going to keep it. But Sam, what would you say to somebody considering, working with us, pulling the trigger?
Yeah, I mean, I would, everybody's coming at this from a different place. Maybe some people have hit a plateau at, X revenue mark and they're having a hard time pushing it. Maybe it's folks that have had negative experiences with other agencies and are trying to switch. So I know that we all kind of have our own unique backgrounds that you're coming from in terms of what your concerns are or aren't. So yeah, I mean, ultimately what sold me on working with Carbon Box and why I'm continuing to is we've just been very open from the beginning. I feel like back when we were first getting to know each other, I was kind of vague on my launch timeline because I was waiting on the importation of all the new product, et cetera, et cetera. So we just kept a really open communication pathway and all of our ducks in a row prior to launch, and we're ready to hit the ground running. So, and of course, we're going to continue to do that. So, I mean, not to harp on the communication piece, but that's what it all comes back to for me. That's something that was really important. I want to be hands off as humanly possible while still in the loop.
Sure.
And I think that's something that we're accomplishing well so far. So, my thought is, if you're not already sold by kind of the rest of this video or your kind of primary meetings with Jordan, just vocalize your goals and your concerns and figure out a path forward. And I feel very confident they'll be able to help you out.
Well, cool. Thanks, Sam. Number one, I really appreciate you being here. And number two, for those of you who don't know, for Black Friday, we set out an initial goal to hit $1,000 every single day. So the goal was around 30,000. And then we were on track to hit 51,000. And you said, if we hit 60,000, you guys will get free coolers. And we ended up Black Friday ending with 73,000, I believe, something like that. And so, last question is, when are we getting those coolers, man? When are we getting those free coolers?
Dude, I told you in Slack, send me your address. Or if you did, my bad. Send it to me in Asana, actually.
You got it. Okay. Okay. Well, cool, Sam. Thanks for being here, man. Really appreciate it. And we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
Perfect. See ya.